Good afternoon internet and welcome back to the channel. So it's Sunday afternoon, it's the 27th of July and it's nearly 2 o'clock, and at long last it stopped raining. I was going to go out earlier, but it's rained on and off all morning. It's finally decided to stop now, which it's a bit late in the day now. I was going to go for a nice ride today because obviously I haven't been out on the bikes much at all, but with the rain, hang on a sec, let's just adjust that up a bit, shall we? Okay, that's a bit better. But with the rain, you know, same old thing round here. Unfortunately, everything you plan gets absolutely stopped here. The weather seems to just ruin everything. Right, but it's still spitting now. It's supposed to stop this afternoon, mind you. It wasn't supposed to rain at all yesterday, and it did. So it's very difficult to get. Oh, he's done it again. Here we go. Look. That sounded a bit. Did it not? Not too sure why, but never mind. Right. I think we'll just view the map. There you go. Right, so where are we going to go? Well, that's a good question. Where should we go? Like I said, I was going to go a bit further today and sort of make a day of it, but by the time right now that the rain stopped and everything else, you think to yourself, do you know what? And I mean, I know it says it's not going to rain, but I don't know. You can't always believe what the weatherman says, eh? Right, anyway, I think we'll just have a ride round maybe Odier, no, not Odier, round Douarnenez and have a look at the port and just to get out now. Okay, so this is the first time that I've been out on the Guerrilla since I took it into the dealership, and quite an interesting visit actually. So I get there and he said, right, okay, let's take it in the back, and it was really nice because the guy that did it I've got to know, you know, because I had my Himalayan off him, and then I had this off him, so I've met him a few times, you know. He's a nice bloke. David his name is. He's the manager of the Royal Enfield bit up at the outlet in Brest in Finisterre. Anyway, so he said, yeah, he said, let's take it through to the workshops, and he says, yeah, I'll come through and I'll show you. Anyway, so he goes through, and obviously he takes the seat off is the first thing, and then if you own one of these bikes, when you take the seat off, you've got your little red plug that plugs straight into the diagnostic machine at the Royal Enfield sorry, at the Royal Enfield service centres. Anyway, so, and he had to ask me these questions, you know. He said, he noticed that I'd got the Garmin on, and he said, you know, where have you wired that into? And I said, oh, it's wired off the auxiliary point. He said, oh, okay then, no, that's fine. And he asked me, like, had I made any mods to the bike at all, and I said, nope, it's basically standard, you know. Everything is as it was when it came out the factory. So he said, right, you know, explain what it is. And I said, well, you know, at low revs, this thing just you know, hunts. It just like it's going to stall and that. And he said, yeah. Apparently, you know, I'm far from being one of the first to have said this. It's I won't say a fault with them, but it's something that a lot of them suffer with, yeah. And of course, you got to remember as well, you've got to look at maybe where you ride your bike. You know, I mean, if you like me, I go like this, for instance, yeah. I go through a lot of these little French villages, you know, where the speed now is monitored quite, you know, the French are coming down hard now on, especially motorcyclists who tear through these little villages. To be fair, I can't really blame them. Why should the locals have people tearing through their villages, you know? I mean, kids play, animals roam about, you know, and apart from which, it's just not socially acceptable, is it? Let's face it, you know. There's main roads, there's motorways if you want to do it. You know, I heard other YouTubers moaning about speed bumps and, you know, oh, it's slowing us down and, you know, it's a 30 restriction and all this. Well, you know, it's there for a reason. Just because you ride a motorbike doesn't mean to say you have to be an idiot. That's my opinion, you know, and I'm afraid I'm sticking to that one, you know. Anyway, right, so of course, if you ride these bikes at a faster pace, then one, you're not up and down the gears, because that's another thing with them. And secondly, you know, they don't do this jumpy thing, yeah. So anyway, he plugged it in. And it came up that it had logged a fault, yeah. Now, he wasn't even too sure himself what the fault was. Now, this is the bit that sort of gets me. What he had to do was, he had to take a picture on his phone of the screen, and then what he has to do is, he has to email that over to the factory in India, because apparently all work, warranty work, has to be authorised from the factory, which is a bit of a strange thing really when you think about it, isn't it? Oh, it's this dog, look. Now, is he going to get up and chase me? Nah. Oh, he's tied up. Anyway, I think he's calmed down. Anyway, yeah, so that's what he did, you know. Now what he did do, he cleared the fault. Now the fault was something to do with the ECU and the you know, the distribution and God knows what else of the fuel. And anyway, so he cleared the fault. Now, to be fair, I mean, like now, for instance, I'm in third gear, I'm doing 36 kilometers an hour. And I gotta say that it's running better. Look at this, you know. I couldn't have done this before, yeah. There's just no way, you know. I mean, this seems to be a lot calmer, yeah. I don't know, I know sometimes maybe I've come across as totally disliking these bikes, and you know, let's just make things clear. That isn't the case, yeah. I wouldn't have gone out and bought it should I have totally disliked it. I think this bike has got an awful lot of good features, you know. The way you sit, I think is brilliant, you know. It's a real nice, the bars are nice and wide, they're brought back, you know. The balance and the handling of the bike, I think, is absolutely fantastic. I also think when you get it on the open roads, which we're going to do in a bit. I mean, I'm just talking to you lot, but you know, when we get it going a bit more, the bike performs, I think, really well, you know. So I'm not a disliker of these bikes at all. I just think, and this isn't just aimed at Royal Enfield, because I've got 3 Royal Enfields and I like Royal Enfields, I really do. So this to me, this is me talking about the whole 400 450 range. I don't get it. To be honest, I mean, okay, if you look at the 350 series, yeah, the Hunter, the Classic, the Meteor, I think they're brilliant. Those engines, they run absolutely smooth. They're great. They're what we know Royal Enfield to be. They're a thumper, yeah. They're a boom 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 boom. They thump away. They just eat the miles. I think they're great. I really do. Now, I get it. The next step up used to be to the 650, you know, where the Interceptor dominated really for years, didn't it, you know? And then, of course, came the Super Meteor, which again, you know, was a well sought after bike. We now have the shotgun, yeah. So all in all, you know, Royal Enfield have given us a great choice in the 650 range. There's no two ways about that. But of course, the trouble is, and I think this has got a lot to do with it, is that with the 650 range there comes more weight in the bike. Now, if you're in your 40s or early 50s, to most people a 650 isn't exactly going to be a problem. But as you get older, you know, as you get in your 60s, your 70s, your 80s, you know, let's face it, there's a lot of bikers these days in their 80s who still get out there and enjoy riding. I mean, I'm 68. I love riding, you know. Okay, this year, because building the you know, the chalet that I'm doing has took a lot of my time up, you know. But the thing is, for a lot of people, as we get older with our arthritic joints and arthritic hips and God knows what else, dodgy backs and all the rest of it, you know, it can be a bit painful to ride some of these bikes, you know, and it can be a struggle to manoeuvre them. Maybe not so much when we're out on them, but certainly when we're trying to move them around a garage, or sometimes just taking it off the side stand, getting it upright. To some people, and it's okay saying, oh no it's not, well then you're not the people that have the problem. But if you are, if you've got a bad back or a dodgy hip or a dodgy knee, trust me, it can cause a problem. So I get why Royal Enfield and Triumph and even BM now and, you know, Honda are all doing the smaller bikes, because us old uns, we can manage them better, yeah. But engine wise, it's a funny old thing, isn't it? It's still a single cylinder, and yes, I've had this conversation on my channel before. If you want to do a bit of touring, especially longer touring, I don't care what bike you've got, a single cylinder, yes, it'll do it. We all know it'll do it, so don't bother telling me, oh, it's fine. I know it's fine. But for smoothness and less stress on that engine, you can't be a twin and upwards. You really can't. Yeah, that's what it's all about. Now, I mean, I've had this on the motorway. It does it no problem at all. Absolutely brilliant. In fact, these Guerillas, they like the higher speed, more so than the lower speed. You know, look at this now, you know. But then again, this is running better anyway. So all in all, you know, I don't know. I mean, I got to be honest. I can ride a 650. You know, it's not a problem to me at the moment. I'm lucky. Yes, I've got a bit of arthritis here and there, but generally speaking, for my age, I am pretty fit, and so I can hold a 650. I can maul it around. You know, I'm fine. But in 10 years' time, I might not be so lucky. You know, so do I? I mean, I was a couple of 3 weeks ago really tempted to trade this in and get the Interceptor, especially the 2025 Interceptor. They've done a few tweaks to the engine and that sort of stuff, and you know, I was extremely tempted to either sell this privately or trade it or whatever, yeah. But like I said, this is a great fun bike, you know. I mean, Royal Enfield, compared to all the other small bikes, I think Royal Enfield have got it right. I really do, you know. The rake of the front forks, you know, they bought it in. It makes it so manageable, you know. You could turn this thing around on a sixpence. Well, if we had sixpences, you could. Anyway, you know, it's the balance of the bike is Royal Enfield, again, mind you, they're good at that anyway, but this one, absolutely superb, you know. Isn't it a shame that maybe, can you imagine if this would have been a 500 twin, eh? Wouldn't that have been a cracking bike, eh? I think that would have given everybody the best of both worlds. You know, another 50cc wouldn't have made any difference really on the weight. They could have kept the chassis exactly the same structure of frame, the same rake, so the bike would have still been extremely light. It would have suited all us old codgers. What a bike, eh? What an absolute bike. But of course, haven't Honda got a 500? I know that they've got their, is it their 350? But I think Honda have got their I'm not really up on Hondas, to be honest with you. A CB 500, is it? I think, I'm not sure. Anyway, whatever it is they've got. But yeah, I mean, but I really do think this bike is great. So I'm thinking to myself, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to change it for an Interceptor, I don't think. Yeah. I enjoy riding this bike when it behaves. I was really down. I didn't want to take it out at some stage because it was jumping all over the place, but whatever he's reset on this, there's no two ways about it. It's made a difference. Yeah, it's made this bike run a lot better. So now, one thing that he was on about is the ride-by-wire throttle, which, do you know what, I wish to God they didn't have the damn thing, you know. I would have been quite happy, as I'm sure lots of other people would, just keep the cable, you know, just keep the cable. But they didn't. They didn't. I think we'll go up at that, and then we'll turn. Shall we turn around? I don't know. Anyway, oops. See, third gear, but he didn't want to do it. Yeah, he jumped a bit. Whereas, yeah, okay, third gear. But I could have done that in my Himalayan or the Meteor. The third gear wouldn't have bothered it. But again, it's you know, I get it. It's a different engine. Anyway, so yeah, apparently the ride-by-wire throttle, they've had a couple of problems with the Himalayan 450. And it can cause this little bit of a jumping, which this has still got. It hasn't completely gone. It's a lot better, but it hasn't gone. So he was on about that, maybe that they'll change that. I don't know. We'll see. Yeah. So this is Douarnenez, this is the port of Douarnenez. Quite a big port, mainly private this is, yeah. I bought you here before. I'm only coming here because I just desperately wanted to get out on the bike, you know. Actually it is there right away, but I didn't know where that car was going, so we'll come through anyway. The banana boat. This is the place that does the fish and chips down here somewhere. Aye aye. Hello. Yeah, so but we'll just have to take it and just see what happens and what they're going to do about it. I mean, I said to him, look, there's no big rush, you know, just see, look at this, second gear, 23 kilometers an hour. You know, it's not jumping, yeah, look. Alright, there's a little but no huge jump. The Ariba car, I like them. I do like, do you know, if I could get one of them, preferably that both brake lights work. They're too busy taking pictures in the cab. I can see through, but yeah. There's a few people out today. Look at them, why not? It is some. Oh, look at that. Your original Africa twin, eh? Look at that. Now, to me, that's a bike, yeah? I mean, you know, I had my Transalp, which was a 650, you know, all off the same sort of build station. That's new, never seen that there before. But yeah, I've never really been a sports bike person, to be honest with you. I've always been like your original 70s style bike, I suppose, because I was brought up in the, you know, in the 60s and 70s and on the old British bikes, and that's why I love Royal Enfield, you know. In fact, I've always thought that maybe this one, the Guerrilla, is probably a bit too adventurous and too young for me, do you know what I mean? Maybe again this is what Royal Enfield came out with. I think Royal Enfield needed to produce a bike with more poke, because that's what everybody wanted. You know, the 411 Himalayan, the poor thing was always getting slagged off, wasn't it? You know, it's too slow. And then you had your, you know, the Meteor and the Classic and the Hunter, and they're like, oh yeah, you know, a bit more power would be nice. Personally, I think they're fine, but still, never mind. And then they brought this out, and I get it. They wanted to capture that younger audience, you know, and I fully understand that. See, now that didn't want to do that in second there. Did you say that was a real jump? And that should have been a piece of cake for it. It shouldn't have done that, right? So, you know, it's still not completely right by any means. Anyway, and I think that's where this bike was sort of born from. Royal Enfield wanted to give the younger audience, you know, a bike with a bit more colour, a bit more flashiness, a bit more go, do you know? And hence this was born, you know, which is fine, you know. I mean, I sort of get all that. This is the old, this is all where all the old fish factories are here around the port. We'll have a little ride down and have a look. Been to that bar there a few times over the years. See, a lot of these little shops around here, they all open up to the public as well, so they'll sell direct to the public. Actually, they don't work out any cheaper than if you was to go to your local supermarket. I think people, it's for the tourist, isn't it? You know, oh, I got this tin, I was right by the port, eh? Can't get it any fresher than this. It's in a bloody tin, for Christ's sake. But still, never mind, eh? So this is more here. This is the professional side, yeah. Well, across there, look. This is where we used to go fishing here as well. We'll do a little. I bought your ear before. See, isn't it funny? It's that second gear that seems to shake more than anything. Weird, isn't it? I always think I'm going to hit my head on this. I duck. How stupid am I? I duck, and for what reason? Because I am not going to hit my head. A few boats out there, look at it, eh? He's fishing off there, look, with a just a line, yeah. They fish off here as well. In fact, I'm not too sure what that lady's doing there. To be honest, I don't really want to know. That there is a big fish vat. Obviously those boats there are all professionals, yeah. There's a couple of people sat here, look, fishing, which is well allowed. And why not? Why not indeed? Normally you get a lot more people fishing there. They fish all along there, or they used to, but they've put all the boats there now. So we used to fish along there of a night, but that's all locked off now. Which I suppose is fair enough, you know. Yeah. Captain Cook. Up there, look, on the wall, see it? Captain Cook. Very colourful lady there, eh? I love some of the African wear. I think it looks great. I think they're always so colourful here. They really are, really nice. The semi-rigid service, eh? What can I say about that one? There's nothing like just strolling across the crossing, eh? Fair play. Does it matter? Why are we in a rush? Yeah, there's that shop, look, huh? Go and get your fresh sardines from there. I think what we'll do is we'll probably go back this way, look. And then we'll go back up the main and we'll go over the bridge, the famous bridge, I think. Yeah. Well, it does actually look like the rain is going to behave, which is really good for a change. It's quite blowy today as well. The wind's up quite a bit, but there again, nothing unusual there. Finisterre. Whenever is it not windy in Finisterre? You can have the heat, can be like 30 odd degrees. And it's still bad, which I suppose in a way is quite nice because it cools you down. So just looking at the bike, 30,000, knock at me, stupid boy. 3,067 kilometres is what it's done. 3,067. So I suppose really now he's giving it some stick. That's an electric bike as well. I was just about to say, look at him, he's giving that some effort up there. Of course, I suppose he could be flat, but yeah, look at that for a nice view, eh? Straight across the Bay of Dwyler now. Lovely Jabley. So I was also thinking, sorry, let's get back to the kilometres. So 3,000 kilometres. It's got to be running now, hasn't it? And you know, and like all my bikes or cars that I have from new, not that I have many cars these days from new, but you never know. You never know. Anyway, this has been running properly, absolutely smack on, and I'm not saying that everybody doesn't, but there are some that don't. But I can, you know, I know that this has been running perfect. You've only got to look at my videos to see that. And so yeah, I mean, it should be by now fully running, you know, which is fine. So I'm thinking to myself, once they've done all this warranty work, whatever it is they're going to do to it, which I presume they'll carry out when they do the actual service, and I've decided now, more or less, I mean, don't get me wrong, maybe if somebody came up and said, well, that's a nice bike and you've done this, that and the other to it, it's all running because I've seen it on YouTube and blah 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 blah, how much you want for it? And I said a thing, and they said, yeah, okay, I'll probably sell it. But I don't suppose that's going to happen. So working on the assumption that I'm going to keep it, what am I going to do to this bike? Yeah, what am I going to do to it? Well, I think one of the first things that I'm going to do is, I've never liked these tyres. I really don't like the tyres. But I'm not just going to get rid of them. I mean, they've done 3,000 now, you know, and to be fair, they don't even look like they're worn, you know. So, but when they do go, it'll have Michelin on, I think. So that's, yeah, so that's something for the future. A Fuel X, you know, I'm tempted, but I'm not tempted. I mean, it's crazy, innit, you know. There's so many differentiating things about the Fuel X. Some say, whoa, it made such a difference, put it on, I went to the moon and back. Others say, yeah, I put it on, it made no difference at all. I don't know, you know what I mean. And what is it? I think the cheapest I've seen it for this bike, it's quite funny really, found a company doing them for €184 for the 450 Himalayan, right? Now bearing in mind it's the same engine, but for this bike they wanted €220. Why? Huh? Why would that be? It's the same engine. Okay, maybe it's mapped different. I suppose that's what they're going to use, and that's why they're going to charge you that extra 40 odd euro. Personally, I call it a rip-off, but still, never mind, such is life. Right, so I don't know with the Fuel X, that's what else would I do to it? Well, see, I don't really know, because to be fair, I don't think there's much else that I would actually want to do to it. I've got my sat nav, you know. I don't know. Oh, I do know. Yes, I do know, and I would do this. I don't know why I didn't think about this one when I was trying to. Right, the Himalayan, I changed the rear sprocket and I went down 2 teeth, and it's the best mod I ever did on that bike. I mean, it really is the best mod I ever did on that bike. Now they do one for this bike, but they only drop it down 1 tooth. But even that 1 tooth will make, because I use these bikes, the whole intention is out on the main roads for when I go, like, if I want to go away or something like that. So yeah, I think I would definitely do that. Now Hitchcocks do one, I saw it on their website, but the place where I got my sprocket for the Himalayan, which I can't remember the name of the place now, and so JT, I think it was JT Sprockets, they're a Spanish company. I think I'd send them a message and see if they did one. Yeah. So yeah, I would definitely do that. And apart from that, to be fair, I don't think I'd do anything else, maybe once it's had its warranty work done, I'd probably, if there's one available, change the spark plug to an iridium, which I do on all my bikes, so I'd probably do that. Here we go over the bridge. We've just been down there, look, see. So yeah, I mean, that's it really. And then obviously Dr. Drone. Okay, I don't know what that's all about, I really don't. But yeah, so that's the plan really, I think. Just get these bits. See, oh look at that. Okay, I was in 4th gear then. But you see, the thing is, I'm so used to riding the Meteor and my Himalayan that wouldn't have been a problem for it at all, or for them. But this one is, it's a totally different kettle of fish. How it's sort of, it's got the low down torque on these bikes. I know people say, oh, it's got plenty of low down torque. I don't know, I'm not sure. I don't know what it does, but anyway, I just wanted to stop jumping. Hopefully, I mean, it might just be this ride by wire thing, we'll see. I know that they're you only have to touch these things. A lot of cyclists out today, but of course, France, it's they love their cycling, and why not? I'm all for it. I used to love going on my bike, I really did. It was great, it was just enjoyable. But since I've had my accident, my poor old foot, I'm afraid, just will not stand for it anymore. This is quiet. I didn't think that this would be this quiet, but it is. We'll have a look at the bit down here. A truck and puss, which is like a it's like a car boot. It equates to a car boot, but they are useless. I don't think, I used to like a good car boot back in the UK, I really did, but the car boots here, dear, they are seriously bad. They basically take all the rubbish because I can't be bothered to go to the tip, and flog it. Now I know we shouldn't really do this, but have a little ride. I mean, technically speaking, I am in the parking zone. Yeah, we'll just go up so we can see out to sea, shall we? Just stop here for a minute, eh? There you go, look. Yeah. This is Trouble, the harbour of Trouble. Just how much battery have I got left? Oh, loads of it left. Loads of it left. So yeah, quite quiet considering it's summer holidays are in full swing. I mean, okay, we've had a spot of rain, but you don't come to Brittany or Finisterre on your holidays and think you're going to get away with no rain. If you do, you're absolutely crazy. Oh, that's different. Hey, look at the colour of that camper van there. It's very army-fied, isn't it, eh? Do you think? I do. Right, okay. So, oops. Nowadays, Talbot. I like the old Talbots, eh? I know some of these modern vans are like really nice, and they are. There's no two ways about it. With all the gadgets and all the bits and pieces. But you know what? Sometimes gadgets ain't everything, are they? Eh? Simplicity can be just as good, yeah? Well, I think so anyway. That's my opinion. I'm not too sure where you think you're going, my darling, but you need to be waiting is what you need to be doing. Oh, actually that could have been my fault because I had my indicator on. So, oopsie daisy, and that was my fault again. If you're going to cause havoc, you might as well do it all together, eh? I do apologise for those people that I just cut up. Well, I didn't exactly cut the lady up, but I got my indicator on. But the gentleman coming around the island, I thought he was going the other way, but he didn't. So that was my fault, and I apologise. Look at that, all out for a run. Love it. I must admit, these bikes want to be opened up. They want to go quicker. They're not a happy bike, I don't think, tootling around these sort of little places. It's almost saying to me, take me somewhere and give me a good hiding, eh? Well, you know. Or you can ride like that, you see, and see, look, he's a young lad, I get it, yeah. But unfortunately, you know, they really don't help the situation, you know. This is a holiday destination where normally people are around. Okay, maybe not so much today, but you know, there's nothing worse. I remember a few years ago, you know, it doesn't happen so much now, but we used to get a lot of British bikers, you know, the sports crew mob, eh? On the sports bikes. They used to get off the ferries and they used to go hell for leather. And, you know, let's face it, the French roads, they got some cracking roads. I mean, you know, they really have. But alas, those days are gone. The gendarmes now are cracking down. If they see a UK plate, you know, and a driver that's going above the speed, your bike will be destroyed. That's what they do, you know. They have the power to destroy your bike, to crush it on the side of the road. And don't forget, after Brexit, we're probably not the most loved people in Europe. Route to Bahrain. Whatever. We're not going that way. See? And look at this. Harry, are you watching? Harry, Harry from the UK. Look, no hands, no wobble. It's all right. That's between me and Harry. Oh, I got to tell you, right? I've now again, right? Again, this is me being probably a bit stupid, really, for my age. When I used to tour a lot on the BMW, I always used to wear, well, mostly leathers, yeah, not leathers as in leather jackets, because that's just too damn hot, but you know, leather trousers most of the time, you know. And I used to put up with the heat, you know, for the sake of self-preservation, really, because you know, there's no two ways about it. If you come off, leathers are excellent, you know, they're fantastic protection. But of course, then we had all the you know, the Gore-Tex and God knows what else, and I forget what the rest of them are called now. But I'd sort of cut back on the touring, and basically, you know, was pottering around France, you know, and you tend to get a little bit complacent and think to yourself, I don't really need so much protective clothing. Now, I'm not too sure why I started to think that, because to be honest with you, it was probably a stupid idea. But so for the past, I suppose, 5 or 6 years now, I've just, in the summer anyway, rode in normal jeans and think to myself, well, you know what, I won't get, you know, I won't come off the bike, or yeah, I don't really go quick enough now and all that sort of stuff. But of course, that's a stupid outlook, isn't it? Because yes, you can come off the bike, and yes, it doesn't matter how fast you're going. Jeans hitting the tarmac lasts a matter of seconds and your skin takes over. Well, for what little skin you're going to have left. So anyway, my wife was going on at me, and she said, look, this is ridiculous, you know, you need to get yourself a decent pair of jeans. So anyway, I had a look in the local shops, you know, in Campere, which is our local biggish town and that. And you know what, I mean, for proper riding jeans, I mean, with all the singing and dancing, with all the Kevlar lined and all this, you're looking at €200-300. That's a lot of money. It is a lot of money in it, and I get it, there shouldn't be a price on safety, but it's a lot of money. Now, 90% of those jeans that I looked at, well no, 100% of those jeans that I looked at, the Kevlar lining were really like a little pair of shorts, and you had a bit on your knee. The rest of it was just jeans, and some of them had knee pads, others didn't. Now, a couple of 3 weeks ago, I don't know, I was looking at something, I don't even know what I was looking at now, and it popped up, this is on the internet by the way, and it popped up about these riding jeans. I think they're Rippy or something, Rippy they're called, and I had a look at them, and they're like a stretch quality, thick denim but stretch. I like stretch because obviously it stretches, so it's comfortable. Now these are Kevlar, but they're full Kevlar. It's a pair of Kevlar trousers within the jeans, so everything against your skin is Kevlar. And then on top of the Kevlar, you have a lining, like a breathable lining, which keeps you cool. So basically, you've got the jeans, you've got the another full set of Kevlar, then you've got this lining which is a full set again, you've got knee protectors and hip protectors and all that. These are UK made, all that for €120, yeah. And I thought to myself, well, that sounds okay. Now it just so happens that somebody, luckily enough for me, their mate had bought some, and oh, another car boot, look at that, hey, oh, unless that was the one that was advertising, anyway, whatever. So yeah, and he was well impressed with these jeans. Now don't forget, of course, because of Brexit, good old Brexit, we have to pay import duty now, that anything that comes from the UK, because the UK is not classed as a European country. So I had to pay the import duty, and that was €32 I had to pay. But even looking at it, right, for these jeans, which are better than anything I looked at here, I still got them €80–90 cheaper. And this is them, I have them on now, and I tell you what, they are the most comfortablest pair of riding jeans or trousers that I have ever had in my life. They are absolutely fantastic. They're just, I'm a 36 waist, obviously this is UK size, so I'm a 36 waist. They fit brilliantly, you know, they are really nice. Like I say, they stretch, so when you sit down on the bike they're not uncomfortable. You know, I am so impressed with these jeans, I really am. Now I got to be honest, they weigh a ton. You pick them up, when I hadn't even put them on, I picked them up and I thought, gee oblige, hey, how am I going to move in these? They are so heavy, but when you put them on, they just feel so nice. They're brilliant. I'll tell you what I'll do, I don't normally put links to things, I'll come to that in a minute, but I am so impressed with these, right? I'll put a link. Trust me, if you're looking for a new pair of riding jeans, or you're maybe in leathers and you're fed up with the heat and you know the leather's being a bit uncomfortable, and you want something that is a bit better, then I tell you what, these are well worth getting. They really are. They are absolutely brilliant. So I will put the link into these. Now I'd love to say you can use my code and get so and so off, but I'm not sponsored, I'm certainly not paid, I have no connection with this company whatsoever, apart from the fact that I will happily stand up and say I think their jeans are brilliant. But they don't just do jeans, this company does all sorts of bits and pieces, riding gear, that's what it specialises in. They got a website, have a look, I will put the website on. They are really fantastic. I'm so happy with these jeans. Right, yeah, now strange enough, I had a chap, I'm sorry, was it Dave? It could have been David. I am awful with names, I really are. He sent me a comment on, it was one of my older videos when I did a bit of a review on the Himalayan, yeah. And he said, great video and thank you so much for that, I really appreciate it. And I was basically saying, you know, the modifications that I put on the video, and he said, you know, you put all these mods on but you haven't put any links. Well, see, I tend not to, yeah, and I don't do it because I'm thinking, oh, I don't want you to know what I've put on my bike. That doesn't bother me at all, you know. But one of the reasons that I don't do it is because I don't really like recommending things, yeah, because we're a funny race, us humans, we are, you know. And the trouble is, if I recommend something and then someone has it and they say, oh yeah, that drone on, he said this, what a load of rubbish, and that's really why. Because let's face it, if you want a rack, or you want a top box, or you want this, or you want that, you can Google it, you know, and it comes up. And I'm not being horrible, I'm really not, or being funny, but that's why I don't do it, because there's always someone out there. And I had this before, someone asked me for something, and I gave them the link, and then they came out and they said, well, I'm not very happy with it, you said this was good. Well, yeah, you know, just because I like something doesn't mean to say that someone, so I tend not to do it, you know. But in this case, with these jeans, I'll tell you what, I will really happily put the link onto these. I think they're great. Anyway, yeah, that's of course providing that I remember, because my memory is terrible. But no, I would definitely try and do it. But yeah, fantastic pair of jeans. Look, hey, brilliant, love them to pieces. But one of the best things I've bought for a long time, it really is. Right, well, there you go, only a little short ride. I've had an awful lot to say, as you've all noticed. I'm just hoping and praying that this weather really sorts itself out, because, you know, we're having as you know, lots of deliveries for the chalet, and we got to get this sorted out. And you know, I want to get it watertight, because, and strange enough, I was saying this to Pete up in Normandy. We didn't meet up last year, but I want to go up. I don't know if I'm actually going to go all the way up to Normandy, or if we're going to meet halfway or whatever, but I'd really like to see Pete again. You know, we met once before, we had a cracking time. We seem to have an awful lot in common, apart from our size. Pete's a big giant of a bloke, you know, towers across me. I'm only little, me. And yeah, we got a lot of the same interests and that sort of stuff. We've both got arthritic knees, so anyway, yeah. So I'm hoping, you know, I just want to get this roof on, you know, get this roof on and get the thing watertight, and maybe have a nice long weekend away. Who knows, I might even go up to Normandy and stay up there. I do love it round there. I love the war stuff. I know I've seen it time and time again. I normally go up there with a mate of mine, God bless him, and yeah, we're going to do it again, me and him. You know, we're going to have another look at the war stuff. Anyway, right, last bit home. This is coming into a place called Guerrilla. I don't know if I've ever told you this. Guerrilla. Look, Guerrilla. This actually comes under our postcode. You know, that's our sort of postal village thing. Oops, Guerrilla. These people. Actually, do you know what? I've said now for so long that a lot of these speed bumps, and I'm not against speed bumps, right? I'm not. Speed bumps, although I'm not too sure what that one's there for, but still, speed bumps by schools and hospitals and that sort of stuff, I get it. I get what it's for, yeah. So I'm not against them at all. What I find hard to get, look, is this here, right? Now you tell me, right? You tell me. There's two sets of speed bumps here. Why? What is the point of this? Yeah, I just, you know, yeah, okay, there's a couple of houses, but why do you need the speed bumps? It's crazy. Anyway, and some of them are huge, yeah. I mean, those aren't too bad, but some of the speed bumps are just absolutely ridiculous. And I was reading something the other day that the European Commission now has, well, that's a brilliant bit of driving, isn't it, eh? The European Commission now has actually told France that it's got to reduce a lot of the size of the speed bumps. Seriously, you do have to wonder at times the mentality of people, don't you? You know, why pull out if you want to go that slow? Why cut somebody up? Wait till I've gone past. not hard really, is it? It should be a no-brainer. Obviously in his case he's having trouble with his brain. Anyway, yeah, so they've been told to cut down some of the size of these spears. Some of them are humongous, you know, absolutely ridiculous. And some of them are in places that, like those two back there, you can't even see a reasoning for them. I get it, like I said, schools, you know, hospitals, things like that, you know, coming up to crossings, or maybe, you know, highly populated areas. I understand that, you know. I'm not one of these people that, you know, oh, they put these into the spoiler bikers fun. I don't get that. That's just a load of rubbish, you know. But yeah, anyway, anyone who follows me will know that I am back home. Well, I call it home, but trust me, it doesn't feel like it. Look at this, look here, look, this gravel, it's never gone from here. You have to be so careful. I don't even know why they did that bit there. That was my it's my daughter, my son-in-law, and I do believe my two younger daughters all going shopping, Sunday shopping. Oh, here we go. Now here's the neighbours. Always slow down, don't want to upset the dogs. Right, we'll just back this up a little bit from here. Right then, well, I hope you've enjoyed that little ride and my little chat and everything else. And if you have, give me a thumbs up, that'd be great. And if you're not subscribed to me, well, that will be even better. All you got to do is that little box in the bottom right hand corner when it says drone on, just drop your cursor on that or your finger, and that brings up subscribe, and that would be great. I'd love to have you on board. The more the merrier. Let's try and get this channel growing, eh? Right, okay, well listen, thanks ever so much for joining me. I hope you've enjoyed this, and I will see you all in the next video. Take care of yourselves, and bye for now.